Sometimes I wish we live in a world where the hardest choice for us would be what Netflix show to put on tonight. But unfortunately we don't. We sometimes make and have to make difficult choices. And the question is, how do we make choices? What lies behind our choices? How do we make decisions? And many people have different theories about it. And for example, a group of social and cultural psychologists created what they call moral foundations theory. Well, first of all, they said that once a person made the decision, once the choice is made, it's really hard to change it. Even all arguments will be seen as the proof for the decision that's already made. So, but still, the key question for them is not how to change someone's mind, but how we make our choices in the first place. So, and this is theory. This theory says this, that there are 5 or 6, some people say 6, foundations, 6 general principles according to which we make decisions as people. And one foundation is called care or harm. And this is about ability to feel and dislike the pain of others. So it is when you feel kindness, gentleness and nurturedness towards others. You don't want them to feel pain, and therefore you make certain choices in life. The second is fairness or cheating. So it's about reciprocal altruism. So when you don't want people to cheat or to be unfair, so you make the decisions to prevent it. It's about justice, people's rights, and people's autonomy as well. The next is loyalty or betrayal. Its origin is in people's ability to form groups, teams, and coalitions. So this underlines virtues of patriotism and self-sacrifice for the group. Sometimes I do something not because I want it, not because it's good for me, but for the better good of my group, the group that I belong to. The next one is authority and subversion. And it's about hierarchical social interactions. So sometimes you do something because you're told to, and because you are a good worker, and even though it doesn't matter what you think, you're told to do and you have to obey. Sanctity and degradation. People strive to live an elevated, less carnal, and more noble, in a more noble way. For example, it underlines the widespread idea that the body is the temple which can be desecrated by immoral activities. So this is a bit different, but still I want to be on a higher spiritual level, or on a higher level, therefore I make some decisions. And some people, although not all, add one more foundation, which is liberty and oppression. It's about resentment that people feel towards those who dominate them. So, and they strive for freedom. This theory is trying to understand why we do what we do and what is the basis on which we make our decisions. So in Judaism, we often say that Torah is the moral foundation, and we sometimes say not only for Jews, but for the entire world. We demonstrate it by saying, look, there are 10 commandments. Don't kill, don't murder, don't steal, don't commit adultery. And this is the moral foundation of our morality in the world. In fact, Talmudic sages didn't agree with that. Talmudic sages said that those commandments, such as 10 commandments, are universal. They would have existed without Torah and without Judaism. They are logical and very natural laws that every society will come to. So what's so unique about Jewish approach to morality then? And this week's Torah portion helps us to articulate a very unusual and a subtle way in which we as Jewish people approach morality and approach our decisions. This week we begin the reading of the fourth book of the Torah. In English it's called the Book of Numbers. And it's a very logical name as it begins with a census. The God instructs Moses to count all men over the age of 20. And the idea is just to count how many people, how many men would be able to join the army if they need to. And the Torah portion begins with lots of numbers. This is why it's called the Book of Numbers in English. This tribe had that many men, that tribe had that many men, and so on. 12 tribes, and the overall number of people was 600,000 Jewish men. And another census is conducted at the end or towards the end of the same book. So it's a logical name for the book in English. However, in Hebrew, this book is not called Numbers. It's called Bamidbar, which means in the wilderness or in the desert. So on the one hand, all Hebrew names of books and books of the Torah had a very technical approach, and I would say even formalistic. The first meaningful word of parasha, of the book, is its name. That's it. For example, the opening verse of this week's Torah portion is this: Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe b'midbar Sinai. And God spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai. Because the first phrase, and God spoke to Moses, appears so many times in the Torah that it's not useful to give the name Vayidaber Adonai. This is why we give the first meaningful word, we take the first meaningful word and give it a name, and give the entire book a name, or the entire Torah portion. So on the one hand, it's a very formalistic approach to it. But early rabbis didn't stop there, didn't just give a name. They tried to understand the meaning, the essence of this book and the Torah portion. And they tried to deduct meaning from the name. And they looked at the wider picture and asked a very important question, I think. Why was Torah given in the desert? Why the narrative of the most important book in the Jewish tradition takes place in the wilderness? Midrash Rabbah has a short answer. But this answer, and I think this answer is the key, unique feature, and I think the genius of Judaism. Rabbis quote this verse. And God spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai. And they say, anyone who doesn't make themselves ownerless, like the wilderness, cannot acquire the wisdom of the Torah. Ownerless, without an owner. Wilderness, the desert, doesn't belong to anyone. It's ownerless. Therefore, because it's ownerless, everybody who is in the wilderness, in the desert, is equal. In the desert, in the middle of nowhere, it doesn't matter how rich you are or what position you hold in the society. In the desert, all people are on the same level. The genius of Judaism is in the very simple message. When it comes to moral decisions, hierarchy is irrelevant. When it comes to moral decisions, all of us are the same. The Judaism, in its core, is about radical freedom. When it comes to ethics and the most important questions about human life, all people are the same. There are no kings, no presidents, no prime ministers, no priests, and no such thing as unimportant people. We are all the same. Today we live in the world where We are asked for sometimes patriotism or loyalty, to have loyalty to certain organizations, parties, or even countries, and require special treatment of some people and prioritize them over the others. But radical freedom of Judaism has a very simple message. All of us are equal. You are free. You can be free, but you are free only when everyone is free. You can be rich, but you are only rich when you care for the poor. You are only strong when you help the weak. You are respected when you respect others and treat others with respect and dignity. And to make such a fundamental statement possible, you must open yourself to anything and remove all the boundaries. Become ownerless, free, belong to no one, like the desert. Shabbat Shalom.